We're doing another mock draft review, and today we're covering PFF's 3-round mock draft that was dropped today. We're covering it from a Dynasty Fantasy Football perspective. We're looking at the landing spots and see how those players can be valuable in fantasy. Also, we're covering all the picks. So if you're here for just the NFL draft and you want to see what your team's doing, stick along. But make sure you click that subscribe button right now because we're covering the NFL draft every day. We're helping you build your dynasty teams every day. And you're going to see this free content every day. Click that button. Stop missing out. But let's take a look at this mock draft from PFF. This is the headliner. I blew it up a little bit so you can see the picks a little bit better. But 3-round 2024 rookie mock draft. Vikings trade up for a certain player. And you're going to see him here soon. So scrolling down here through the mock draft here for PFF, Pro Football Focus, the Chicago Bears draft Caleb Williams. I'm not going to say too much about this. We know right now for sure Caleb Williams is going to the Bears. Justin Fields is to the Steelers. There's no controversy anymore unless some magic trade happens, unless something crazy happens. Caleb Williams is going to the Bears. He's holding his 101 value in Dynasty rookie drafts, especially in Superflex, middle of the first round or so in 1QB. Really depends on how your league is structured and how they value quarterbacks in 1QB. Most people play Superflex anyways these days. He's going to hold that value. That's where he's going to be at. But things are going to shake up now. Looking at our next pick here, Drake May to the Washington Commanders. Very productive in college, has a good ball on him. And we're going to see him drafted around the 103 range in Superflex. The Commanders got to retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call that. They got to get some more players around him on that team on both sides of the ball. But still, Drake May is going to be their quarterback of the future for the future. Howe is gone. And this is going to be their new QB, Drake May. Moving down to number 3, third player off the board. They're going to be going Jaden Daniels to the Patriots. When it comes to Jaden Daniels to the Patriots, are you in or are you out? Are you into any quarterback going to the Patriots? Are you still in because you like Jaden Daniels, what he did at LSU these last 2 years? Not just this year where he blew up. The year prior, he was looking good too. Looked good as a freshman at Arizona State. Had some upside there. Some down years in between. Came back to LSU. Started rocking up. And then last year, put the stamp on things. He's got an accurate ball downfield. Was he buoyed by Malik Neighbors and company? Was he? Or is he the legit deal? We're going to see in New England, according to this mock draft. In Dynasty rookie drafts, he's going to be up there. Quarterback getting drafted in the top 3. You're going to hold some value. And even if he has a bad season next year, if he goes slow, Jacoby Brissett is the man there next year in 2024. He's still going to hold value. Bryce Young's still holding value. That being said, 3 overall to the Patriots. At least that's an investment chip for you in Dynasty Fantasy Football. And here's the big trade. This is the headliner. This is the clickbait pick, or at least one of them. J.J. McCarthy going to the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of buzz around McCarthy. Are you buying it? Are you buying it? Or is he this year's Malik Willis? Is he this year's Will Levis? Is he going to fall down the board a bit? Are we going to watch him fall and he's going to be that draft day story? Because media is building him up. The media builds up a lot of players, then the NFL tells us different. That's what we've seen with Justin Fields. We saw that on the trade market. This could be the same thing. The thing about this, we're hearing a lot of rumors. Are you in on that? In this scenario, him going to the Vikings, his value skyrockets. It's through the moon. It's up there, top 5, top 6 pick. He's flirting in Rome Odunze territory, Malik Neighbors territory, and Superflex value. 1QB is back there a bit, but you got Justin Jefferson, maybe, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson. Got a lot of pieces there to work with, to develop with. Let's see what happens with them. They do need a quarterback. They need to do something. This could be their guy. Minnesota is very excited for this. I'm seeing that on Twitter. I'm going to say it that much. Next pick. Big one. Marvin Harrison Jr. going to the Chargers. Generational talent to a team that needs wide receiver desperately. And he's going to be there for the next 10 years. He's going to be productive. Doesn't really need to transition much. You got Herbert. His value through the roof. One of the most valuable wide receivers in all of Dynasty Fantasy Football off the rip. It's going to increase if this happens, and I think you already know that. Going to the next pick here at 6 overall. Next guy coming off the board here, and we got 2. And that's New York Giants, Rome Odunze. We've seen him mocked here quite a few times, and they need some size. They need a guy that can play the intermediate and stretch the field and have some size. More of a do-it-all wide receiver 1 type wide receiver. You got Wan'Dale Robinson for the slot and the outside, kind of like a slot plus. And you got Jalen Hyatt with the speed to stretch the field. So you kind of need that different type of wide receiver. He's got upside. He's flirting with top-tier potential. If he was in last year's class, he'd be the top wide receiver. He'd be the top wide receiver. He'd at least be flirting with it. Jordan Addison got Kenny Pickett drafted in the first round. And there's a reason for that because he's damn good. But moving on, we saw this pick. Joe Alt to the Tennessee Titans. You got to get Will Levis some more help. And you got to get a top-tier pass blocker. I think Joe Alt could help a lot. And then the Falcons. Dallas Turner. We're seeing him mocked to the Falcons a lot. And then Malik Neighbors comes off the board. And the Vince McMahon voice. Caleb Williams, Malik Neighbors together. When you see these picks together, you got to put them together. The one thing you can say, 2 rookies marinating together, that could be a slow start. You also got some new wide receivers there to block the depth chart. But I'm not going to fade Malik Neighbors. I think he's a generational talent. I think he's a top-tier talent. I think over time, and I think sooner than later. Keenan Allen, how many injury-free seasons have you seen from him? How many? Not many at all. Malik Neighbors, you're buying. You're buying no matter where he goes. He can go to the USFL. He can go to the XFL. He can go to NFL Europe. You're still buying Malik Neighbors. Jets go offensive line as they should. Next pick. Trade. Arizona Cardinals. Get Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo. And this guy has been winning this draft season. From the Combine, from the Senior Bowl. Just keeps climbing up the board. Moving up to 12. Eagles. Get themselves a tackle. I know a lot of my drafts that I've covered, Eagles fans get pissed. They get mad when they go cornerback or DB. Raiders go cornerback. Terrion Arnold. 14 off the board here. We're going kind of slow with the scroll. Try to go a little faster. New Orleans Saints go tackle. And this is a deep offensive line class. It's a deep wide receiver class. You're going to see a lot of offensive line come off the board in the first round, early second round. Brock Bowers to the Colts. We've seen this mocked quite a bit. Him, Anthony Richardson, you got Michael Pittman there, you got Josh Downs. You got a lot of pass catchers there. You're starting to brew some stuff up, and Anthony Richardson now has to take that step forward. Bowers, prospect profile-wise, has a ton of upside. Is going to be instantly valued as one of the top tight ends in Dynasty Fantasy Football. You make that draft pick, and you got some equity there. Even if he has a slow start, he's going to have that name cachet. And then at the tight end spot, there's really not much competition, even though that competition is brewing. But tight ends are highly volatile. You can also move off that piece. Or if he does start off slow, you can look to buy into him later at a cheaper cost. But there's going to be a lot of strategy with Brock Bowers. I think he slips down the board a little bit here in rookie drafts, and that's understandably so, especially when we start looking at these wide receivers coming up. And some of these running backs, maybe. Seattle Seahawks, offensive line here. Jacksonville, A.D. Mitchell going to Trevor Lawrence, and he gets a deep threat, a guy to push it downfield. Sorry, Gabe Davis, but A.D. Mitchell is going to put you on the bench. A.D. Mitchell is going to take over those targets. He's not going to put you on the bench. You're going to start off running some routes, running some wind sprints, but A.D. Mitchell is going to be the field stretcher there. He's going to be getting that A-dot, and Trevor Lawrence would be pushing it downfield to him. And this is going to be a long-term play. Mitchell does have some development to do, but still, the upside's immense, especially with this quarterback. First-round pick in rookie drafts is going to hold a lot of value. Are you buying the Jacksonville offense? Are you buying Trevor Lawrence? Because this is a package deal. Bengals go tackle, as they should, because they got to keep Joe Burrow healthy. They got to keep him alive, let alone healthy. That's what they got to do. That's what they're going to do in draft, especially if Bowers is gone, which he should be. Bowers should be drafted earlier than what they have him. Bowers fell too late in this draft. And the Rams go defensive line here. Steelers go cornerback, Cooper DeJean. Dolphins go Byron Murphy. Broncos trade up, and they get Bo Nix. A developmental quarterback prospect with some upside. Turned it around at Oregon. You can say that. Not the greatest Senior Bowl, but didn't fail it either. Has an arm on him. They're going to try and get him some talent there. And the Denver Broncos are rebuilding, retooling. They're not playing for 2024. They get their quarterback. They let him develop. They give him some opportunities. We see what happens with him. But this is an interesting spot. They're going to get him more pieces to work with. And they got to build somewhere. They got to get a quarterback somewhere. They got to do something. Bo Nix could be the guy. Moving down here. 23. Edge going to the Arizona Cardinals. And we got another trade. Let me know what you think about the trades if you see them. Just pause on those. Inside offensive lineman for the Cowboys. And they need a lot of help at offensive line. A lot of help there. Running back. A little bit at wide receiver. They got a lot of spots to fix. Offensive line is the main issue. They could draft offensive line every pick and it'd be a good draft. And this is a good draft to do that with. They're going to go heavy at offensive line in this draft. In the middle rounds, they're going to have some random picks. First round, second round, one of those picks are going to be offensive line. More than likely, this pick will be too. There's a lot of offensive linemen that are good that's just on the board right now. This makes a lot of sense. Safety, Minnesota, going to the Packers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers get an edge versus falling down the board to 26. Going down here to the next pick. Arizona Cardinals go defense. 28. Brian Thomas to the Buffalo Bills. Perfect landing spot if this happens. I don't see this happening. I see him getting drafted a little bit higher. But if the Buffalo Bills pull this off, they got themselves a major upgrade over Gabe Davis. Huge upgrade over Gabe Davis. He's got electric release. He can get downfield, push them safeties back. Deep ball city. It's going to have a high A-dot. You draft him in the first round in this scenario with confidence because we already have him garnered as a very good talent. Moving down here. Offensive line for Detroit. Ravens go Xavier Worthy. And you're not going to be excited about the landing spot, but this is going to light a fire under Rashad Bateman, either to produce this year or get out. That's one thing it's going to say. They're getting more speed at wide receiver, and this is really going to electrify the run game because now you got to account for Derrick Henry, you got to account for Lamar Jackson. Xavier Worthy has got a good release package, good breaking off routes. Worthy's got top end speed. I think we all know that. He's explosive too, and you got Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews. Dynasty Fantasy Football, you're going to catch him at a good discount. Going to be very cheap. Might even fall to the second round, but since he's going in the late first round seems to be the right spot right now that I'm thinking about until we see the other picks. Moving on down here. At 31, Mims goes to the Niners. Guyton goes to the Chiefs. Because they got Marquise Brown and they're not locked in the wide receiver anymore. Moving on to the second round. Got to get an advertisement in there. And now we're going to go quick. Edge to Panthers. Wide receiver Ladd McConkey to the Patriots. Seems like a Patriots wide receiver even though Bill Belichick's gone. Good route running. Good speed. Good combine. Has been lighting up draft season. Look for him to get drafted in the second round. Ricky Pearsall going to the Cardinals. If he goes in round 2, that's going to expedite or increase his value in Dynasty Fantasy Football. A lot of people like him. Good ball skills, create separation, nasty off the break. Good player. And there's a lot of talent still on the board. And he's being drafted ahead of him. That's a very solid thing. Tackle to the Commanders. Cornerback to the Falcons. There was a trade looked like that went down. Titans go cornerback. Kool-Aid falls to the second round this mock. Xavier Legette goes to the Panthers. So him and Mingo. That's kind of like the Spider-Man meme, but kind of different because they are different wide receivers. But two bigger, highly athletic wide receivers. He can create separation after the catch. With that speed, he can get open with that. And if he develops, takes a step forward, that could be a big thing for Bryce Young. Moving down to our next pick here at 40. Edge Braswell. Linebacker Peyton to the Packers. Texans go cornerback. Moving down to 43. Cornerback to the Chargers. Raiders go Michael Penix. And they got to retool at the quarterback position. They got a battle here with O'Connell and Minshew. But you got to get that insurance policy. You got to get that developmental piece. This is perfect here. You got some vets at wide receiver. You got some assets here to help him move forward. And when you get your quarterback, he starts looking good. You're going to start building around him. Michael Penix was heavily productive there at Washington for them Huskies. That's something you got to pay attention to. Fell off in draft season, but we could rebuild. We could get back. That could happen. Edge for the Saints. Cornerback for the Colts. Defense for the Giants. Trade Chiefs go wide receiver in this draft. Troy Franklin falls. And many people are mocking Troy Franklin to the Chiefs in the first round. The Chiefs still get their guy. One thing they're saying in this draft is the Chiefs are not locked in at wide receiver anymore. That's what they're saying. They're also saying that they're not garnering Troy Franklin as a top-tier talent. But he is a very good talent. He's a very good wide receiver. And this is a very good, deep wide receiver class. His value's to the moon. He's in the first round Dynasty rookie drafts. Going down. Defense for Bengals. Jalen Polk sneaks into the second round going to the Eagles. He feels like an Eagle. He's got deep speed. He can get downfield, good ball skills. Center to the Steelers. Defense to the Rams. Edge to the Broncos. And the Browns get Roman Wilson. So we're staying around that Ohio area, Michigan area up north there. We got speed to berm. We're nuanced. We can create separation. Going to be a good fit. Not the greatest fit for fantasy in 2024, but long term, it's a good fit overall. He's a good wide receiver. He's really going to help the Browns. This is a good football fit for sure. Inside offensive line for the Dolphins. Jonathan Brooks, first running back off the board, going to the Dallas Cowboys. Top graded running back in the class, but coming back with an ACL. So he's going to help this team in the latter part of the season. Maybe in 2025 more. That's something to be noted. Jonathan Brooks, though, electric, can catch passes out of the backfield. You let him sit for a bit. You let him recover. You let him get better. He could be a key piece to your team. This offensive line needs fixed, though. This offensive line needs fixed. They need wide receivers. They need help. They need a lot of everything. Defense is looking stout. Offensive line, they probably need to spam that some more. Moving down. Tampa Bay goes cornerback. Green Bay Packers go defense. Texans, Keon Coleman. I don't know how you feel about that for fantasy football. He's going to be getting an ADOT. He's going to be getting deep targets. He'll probably be slept on a little bit. You're going to catch him at a good price tag in the second round. Again, you're going to want to buy C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's going to push it downfield to him. C.J. Stroud's the perfect quarterback for him. Nico Collins and Tank Dell's also on the field. He's going to be highly volatile in the early parts of his career, and if he steps it up, he could be more. That being said, if he's on the field, he's volatile, at least. If he steps it up, he could be more, which means it could be a top guy in fantasy. Cornerback to the Bills. Edge to the Detroit Lions. Tackle to the Ravens. Javon Baker going to the Niners. Come on down. Javon Baker going to the Niners. Let's have a party here. One of our favorite wide receiver prospects. Nasty off the break. Nasty at the catch points. He is very nuanced. We left Alabama. We turned things around at UCF. That took a lot of character to do. That took a lot of balls to do. And he did it. Now he's moving up the board. We're going to the second round. We're going to the Niners. Purdy's getting another wide receiver. He's got a lot of upside. He's going to be a good value in the second round of rookie drafts. If you let him fall to round 3, which could happen because he looks blocked right now with Ayuk and Debo, you're going to burn yourself. Cornerback to the Chiefs. Moving on down to round 3, the final round, says Vince McMahon. We're seeing JT Sanders to the Panthers. Bryce Young gets a weapon. Second, third round-ish in rookie drafts. Linebacker to the Cardinals. Johnny Wilson to the Commanders. Is he going to play tight end? Is he going to play wide receiver? We got a big wide receiver who is productive, has good advanced metrics. This could be a good spot here for Drake May, a good weapon for him. Moving on down. 68, offensive line to the Patriots. 69, linebacker, Chargers, safety, Giants. Inside offensive line, Cardinals. 72, Malachi Corley to the Jets. They're stacking weapons. Great for the NFL. Could be great for fantasy if he taps into his upside. He's got a lot of dog in him. He's thicker than a Snicker and gets you yards after the catch, which we like. On top of that, paired with Aaron Rodgers, potentially, unless he becomes our president. But Malachi Corley, though, in a situation where he could go off if this offense clicks. Garrett Wilson's still going to be the guy. And they're bringing in other wide receivers in free agency. One might be signed right now by the time you watch this video. I think this is a good spot for him. He's going to fill a need in the slot, though. Moving on. At 73, Detroit Lions go edge. Penn State. At 74, the Falcons go safety. 75, Bears go center. 76, Broncos get themselves a cornerback. The Raiders, Jalen McMillan. And this guy breaks off routes. He's very nuanced. He's very crispy. He can get downfield. Had some injuries in the latter part of his career, but you know what? Can create separation. Third round, a little bit later than what you want from a wide receiver, but nothing to shake a stick out. There's going to be random wide receivers, third round, fourth round, fifth round, somewhere around that range, even 6 or 7. That's going to hit. He's going to develop with Michael Penix and company, with all these jabroni quarterbacks that are fighting it off. Could be a sneaky spot here. 78, edge for the Commanders. Falcons go quarterback, Spencer Rattler, and it's a sneaky pick for the Falcons because they got Kirk Cousins, and Spencer Rattler there is a developmental quarterback prospect that can sling the rock. And if he starts hitting that upside, they can make some deals happen. They can put him on the field, but he's dirt cheap. And if anything, he could be a trendy backup on the cheap. Moving on down, wide receiver Tez Walker going to stretch the field for the Bengals. Don't get too excited for fantasy, but could be a potential ADOT guy. Could stretch the field, especially if they have some problems with T. Higgins in the contract. This could be an insurance piece for them. Moving down to 81. Steelers go linebacker Brendan Rice to the Colts. Him and Pittman on the outside downs in the slot. You also got Pierce as the deep ball guy. You got Brock Bowers in this draft. You're starting to get some pieces on this offense. And he's got to hit to his upside for him to be fantasy relevant because we got some dogs in the offense. Richardson's developing. The math checks out for that. Moving down to the next pick here. 83 overall to the Rams. Going cornerback. 84, wide receiver Jermaine Burton to the Steelers. I feel like he's being slept on a little bit. Could be a sneaky prospect. The Steelers do need to add capital to the wide receiver spot. Burton could do that. A developmental piece, especially you're bringing in those two quarterbacks, and they got to get some bodies and some talent there. Again, Browns go linebacker 85. Texans, inside offensive line. And the Dallas Cowboys go wide receiver with Smith, and they're getting some speed on the outside, in the slot. Wherever you want to put them, they're going to move them around. We got rid of Michael Gallup, but we got to stretch the field. We got to get yards after the catch. Smith is going to add some pop to the offense for fantasy. You're speculating, but there's going to be other players who are going to draft over him. He's going to be like a trendy third-round prospect. Green Bay Packers go edge. If you notice, we haven't seen many running backs. We've seen one so far. And the Buccaneers go guard. Cardinals go safety. 91. The Packers go tackle. There we go. Shut me up right there. And the Buccaneers go with Blake Corum. Pair him with Rachaad White. You got a good tandem here. Rachaad White catching passes out of the backfield. That's where he's good at. He can run it between the tackles, but you also need a meat shield with him. Blake Corum running between the tackles. Blake Corum in this offense, you're going to catch at a discount. I think in the second round of rookie draft, you're pounding that button. A second round running back here, going to a team that has a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Baker Mayfield targets the running back on 20+% of his targets. On top of that, this offense clicks. He's sharing the backfield, but all running backs share the backfield these days. So I'm cool with that in fantasy because the running back position is volatile, and you got to get in when you can get in cheap here. Cornerback to the Ravens. Cornerback to the Niners. Trey Benson to the Chiefs. Everybody's taking their pants off to that one. They're getting size-adjusted athleticism. Benson is just going to the Benson is going to the best landing spot possible for him for his upside. What's up with Pacheco? Everybody needs more running backs. Running backs are so cheap. Everybody needs them. Plus, this is a clickbait pick. A clickbait pick to get you to keep scrolling down to the 3rd round. This is kind of a faker pick, but the Chiefs might do something like this considering they've had other picks come off the board and are going to want to tap into the upside for the offense. They've had some injuries at running back. That happens with all running back depth charts. That being said, Trey Benson, come on down, and you're drafting him in the 1st round of Dynasty because of Chiefs privilege. Jaguars, tackle. Eric All, tight end, Bengals, 3rd round, 4th round pick. Not buying it. Cornerback, Steelers. Linebacker, Rams. Safety, Commanders, 100 picks down. And that's it. That's it. We got 3 rounds down here on the PFF Rookie Mock Draft. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.